Hi everyone, welcome to MontiArts. I'm Sue, and today we have a very special guest who's agreed to an interview with us, Stan Thorud. Stan has been a MontiArts artist for the last 5 years or so?
5 years, yeah.
And we're having a solo show of his work at MontiArts right now. The opening is Friday, June 2nd. From 7 to 9 p.m. We'll be having a little opening night reception with some light refreshments, and Stan, of course, will be there, so you can come in and see all of his beautiful work and meet him in person. And thanks for being with us today, Stan, and
glad to be here.
Sharing a little bit of your experience as an artist and the artist's life with us. So. Were you like an art kid? Have you always done art your whole life?
In a way, yes. I was selling pencil drawings of horses' heads in 5th grade to other students so I could pay for my lunches, 50 cents a piece.
Oh, seriously? Oh my goodness. Okay, well that's industrious and creative. So, linking those two things right away, early on in life.
Food and money.
Interesting. You know, some other creatives I've been able to talk to through our organization here have mentioned that creativity and whatever art form they were practicing at the time, it was kind of always like a North Star for them. Like they might try different mediums and methods, but always kind of coming back to creativity as their kind of guidepost or whatever. Is that you?
I would go along with that. I took an art class in 8th grade and did my first oil painting there. But by the time I finished with high school, I wanted art to be fun. I wanted art to be a hobby rather than a full-time job. So I went into another field and I wound up in product design, or industrial design it's also called.
Which is still a highly creative field, but it's different than just generating art for your own expression, your own...
Yes, yes. But in that position I did develop some product that did make use of some painting. I did a series of Revolutionary War paintings for the bicentennial that wound up inside the product. So yeah, it gave me some of that.
When you were in those days concentrating on your career, were you still doing art for pleasure on the side, or was that kind of taking all your creativity up?
Well, in my early 20s, I did some just for fun or for relatives. But once I got into that job, that kind of used me up.
Yeah.
So I did my last painting, except one, in '74. I did another one for my secretary of her grandchild in 1988, but other than that, I didn't start painting again until 5 years ago, six years ago.
Wow. So many years off in between there.
Many years off.
So you began spending your summers in Monticello when? Was that about the same time frame, or had you been?
I actually started coming to Monticello about 9 years ago.
Okay.
Before MontiArts.
Okay. But when MontiArts fired up and you saw like, oh, there's actually like other artists around and kind of an art scene.
I think I was here the opening night.
Okay, and that kind of sparked it to start up again. Oh, that makes me feel really happy we had any hand at all in that, so that's awesome to hear. So let's talk a little bit about the show that we have up here right now. Okay. Now, you have an enormous collection of national park paintings that you've done.
Yes, I've done 25 national parks paintings in my official series. I've got other national parks paintings as well.
Okay.
But what I consider my series, I've got 25.
Okay.
That I've done so far. I've been to 57 out of the 63. The remainder I can't get to by car. I'd have to fly.
Okay, well, goals, right? So all the paintings in your series of national parks, these are all parks you have physically visited yourself?
Yes, and from photos I've taken or family has taken.
Okay. They are absolutely incredible. I'm really happy we get to see them all in one spot here, at least the prints of them. And that's something important I guess we should mention about the show is you do have originals for sale, yes, but a number of prints for sale as well.
That's correct.
So people would be able to come to the show and come away with their very own Stan Thorud masterpiece for very little investment.
Or order them, you know.
Okay.
For a limited time, I can have them.
Okay.
You know.
We were noticing and talking about this in an earlier conversation, but most of your landscapes of the national parks have people in them for kind of a scale and size reference. Is there more to that?
That's how it started.
Okay.
Was for scale and reference. And the Zion National Park was my first national park painting. The photo I was working from that my sister had taken as the two of us walked up the Virgin River had 3 people in the background. And so I included that to show what the scale of that canyon was.
It's incredible. It makes me want, all of these make me want to go there. Like the Parks Department should pay you for advertising the national parks, honestly, but continue.
And then as a companion piece, I did the one behind me, Redwood National Park, with the same deep highlighted V.
It's incredible seeing them side by side. Those are the 2 paintings we featured on your poster for the show.
Oh, did
That's
you?
been the advertisement people have seen on Facebook and stuff, and seeing them both side by side like that and the composition is very striking between the 2. It's absolutely gorgeous.
But the 3 people worked out so well in the first one that I put the same 3 people into this one.
Okay.
Again, for scale. It's the same size. You know, so you get an idea of how big those redwoods are.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
And then the third one I did was Arches National Park, a rock formation called the Three Sisters. So again, for scale, I put my 2 sisters and sister-in-law into that one. They're very, very tiny. They're hard to find, but they're there, and they're for scale. Well, once I did the 3 sisters, I had to go on and do the 3 brothers in Yosemite, so I've got myself and my 2 brothers in Yosemite. By that time, there's 4 national park paintings with 3 people in them, so I decided, okay, we'll make that...
That's a thing now.
A thing.
And what I like about them, too, is they do lend a sense of the scale of what you're looking at, but they're not such detailed depictions of people in most cases that it takes you out of it. It's almost like you can picture yourself being there because you're seeing these other humans there.
True. And the whole idea of national parks was for people to visit. You know, yes, it's great scenery, but the national parks...
They're ours.
Yes, they are ours, and I wanted to feature people enjoying the parks, not necessarily posing for a camera.
Right. That's a good point. People are just walking in the pictures, and a lot of times their back is to the viewer. They are experiencing the park.
Yes.
That's great. Your work has been described as being pretty photorealistic. In fact, a lot of people at first mistake your paintings for photographs, correct?
That's correct.
Talk a little bit about how you approach that. A lot of times you're working from a source photograph, right?
Or many source photographs. I've had anywhere from 5 to a dozen.
So a lot of them are sort of compilations of images.
Right, but they are from photos.
Reference photos,
right.
Sure.
And I try to make it look as if this is the camera you wish you had there.
Yeah, a lot of
under
times.
the conditions you wish you had that day.
Okay.
Or the people you wish had been with that day.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, because I think a lot of us have experienced being in a place with great natural beauty, and everybody has a camera on them at all times now, so we want to try to capture it, but the pictures always kind of don't do it justice. But your paintings are, it seems like somehow they are doing justice to these beautiful natural scenes. So you're kind of almost idealizing.
Yeah, the art trend called realistic is usually kind of down and dirty kind of thing, and I'm trying to, pump it up.
It's like a heightened experience. Yes. I keep looking at the painting behind you. It's the redwoods one, and just the way the light is hitting all the moss on the tree, and some of the details in the foreground of that one are so vivid, and then it gets less detailed as the scene recedes into the background. Can you talk a little bit about how you approach, the detail that you add in these paintings?
I try and put the detail where I want the focus to be. Off toward the edges, it can be out of focus, so a little less detailed. I don't do every single hair in an animal, for instance. I give the impression of hair. On rocks, as they get toward the outside of the picture, they may just give the impression. At a glance, they look like rocks, but if you get close, you can see brushstrokes and individual things that don't require the detail that the central focus does.
Our brains fill in a lot, don't they? You're a self-taught painter, correct?
That's correct.
It's just unbelievable. You're an incredibly talented man, as I'm sure you've heard many times. It's also really interesting to me. Not very many people have the ability to paint at the level you do and be this accomplished at their art form, and also be able to teach others. And you've been very generous with sharing your methods and talents with people around here.
Well, I think anybody can be a painter. My students, the beginning students, don't believe that. They've always wanted to paint, but have been scared to death to try.
Yes, I can attest to that.
But I've had about 75 or 80 students now, and they're extremely happy with what they wind up with.
Well, you're giving them a great gift of kind of helping them through the doorway of exploring their own creativity in that way.
Well, one thing I try to do is I try to make people happy. Whether it's through my paintings or through my teaching, art should be a happy experience. I'm not one of these
angsty, black-wearing,
that's great,
cigarette-smoking artists.
Oh, I'm bad. No. I want people to have fun doing it and really enjoy what they're doing.
Well, like I said, you've been very generous with your time and talents around here, and everybody always is excited when you return for the summer. But I hope everybody comes to check out this show. It's absolutely amazing. So besides our opening night, people will be able to come here anytime we're having open studio at MontiArts.
Or while I'm having the classes.
While you're teaching your classes. Yeah, so basically every day of the week it'll be open at some time.
At some time during the day, yeah.
Not weekends, maybe.
I need some time off.
Oh, come on, Stan. Well, thanks again, Stan, so much for sitting for this interview with us and sharing your beautiful work with us.
Well, thank you.
Can't wait to see everybody Friday night. I hope we have a full house and we'll have snacks. So hey, come on down, everyone.
Come on down.
Thanks, Stan.
You're welcome.